welcome back to the Artful Chef. Miss M here. So I am going to give you your lesson assignment for the week. So you had the lesson that you should have watched first on value. So you should have created a piece of paper that looked like this for your lesson. So you should have all the different shades of value here with your sphere that has the shadows and the highlights on it. And now we're going to talk about what your project is. So on your project this week, I'm going to have you do 4 different types of values. So 4 different shades that we're going to work in. And you will need a blank piece of paper and a pencil. And we're going to get started. So for this project, I said you're going to use 4 different values. So what I want you to think about is you're going to go back to this paper that you created for your lesson, and you're going to do a highlight, a mid value, a dark, and a black. We're going to layer them 1 layer at a time. So it always works best if you layer, remember. And what I want you to think about is an organic shape. And remember I said in class that an organic shape is any shape that is just free-flowing. It's not geometric. It doesn't have those sharp corners and edges and sides. So think about like pebbles or stones. And I want you to draw, I don't know, 7 to 9 on your page. I want you to draw them close enough together that you are filling your space, but I also want you to think about leaving white space in between, because that's going to be important in the overall composition of your piece that you're working on today. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have 10. Like I said, 7 to 9 is good, 10 is good. You really want a large number of shapes for this first layer, because this one's going on the bottom, and then we're going to layer again and again and again to do these different pieces. So each one of these you're going to shade in. Remember I said when you want those lower colors, you want to hold your pencil closer to the eraser so that you don't apply a lot of pressure. You're going to fill in each of these shapes in its entirety in a highlight, okay? You can get a little heavier on the edge if you want, just to define that shape. And then you can go in and you can blend that with Q-tip. You're going to repeat this process right here for every one of these shapes. So I have gone in and I have shaded highlight value in every one of my shapes. And I did get a little outside the shape in a couple of areas. And I do want you to pay attention to that and make sure that you leave these areas that are white nice and white, because we want that to stand out in our final composition. So make sure you have an eraser handy. On the next step, it is very important that when you start doing this next step, you have a second piece of paper close by, because you're going to want to lay your hand on the paper as you shade, because if not, and your hand moves around as you're doing this, you're going to smear the pencil on your page, and you don't want to do that, because then you're going to mess up your artwork. So I want you to put down another layer of organic shapes. The thing I want you to think about is not putting lines where the white spaces are, but have your shapes overlap. And what I mean by that is, if I was going to draw a shape here, and I wanted it to look like it was laying on top of it here, I would just imagine where the line would stop and start, and I would draw it that way. So I want you to create these spaces that are overlapping. So this is a little more thought out than before, because you have to be very cautious not to do those lines over there. All right, so I have my shapes. I'm going to go with that second level that I told you. So we started with the highlight. Now we're going with a mid-value. And if you refer back to your sheet, your mid-value is going to be number 5. So it's going to be noticeably darker than your highlight. Okay? You're going to shade in all of these areas that you just drew with that mid-value. So on mid-value, you should have your hand about halfway down your pencil so that you can apply a little more pressure. So we're going to layer our third row of shapes, or our third layer of shapes on here, making sure not to cross into the white space. If you want to overlap where you already have color, you can. Remember, when you start to shade, that you want to put your paper down so that you don't smear your pencil lid. And let's shade this next one. Remember, we did highlight, mid-value. Now we're working on dark. And when you work on dark, you move your fingers down a little closer to the end of your pencil. So this will be the last layer that we put on. We have 3 different values right now. We're going to add our 4th value. Remember to have your shapes overlap in some places. Leave that white space in between available. Don't forget to put your paper down before you start shading so you don't smear your pencil marks. And let's finish this up. Remember that this piece goes into the actual assignment section in Canvas. You should be posting this piece in your lesson area, and I will see you guys next time.